Welcome to the Marcus Allen Frishman Show. That's right, guys. We're here with the host, Marcus Allen Frishman. How are you going?
Well, Archie, I am glad to be here. I am Marcus Allen Frishman, and you're not. Welcome to my show. We no longer give advice on love, business, and other life successes because we've done it already. We now just talk about daily activity. And we're wondering how Archie's doing today on his plan to move out of his country and live ultimately permanently somewhere in an unknown location that has not yet been disclosed in Asia. Yes. Right, Archie?
I'm actually considering. Did you get any last time we left the show? You were going to track down some wealthy woman who I could stay with.
It's in progress, Archie. We can't move miracles in one. Okay. What's it called? One show, you know.
Yes.
But we'll see what we can pull off. Yeah. Because you did arrange that yourself, didn't you? In China, where you had a hosted visit repeatedly, although it was a couple. It was a little odd, frankly, but they loved you.
Yep, and I did actually go and meet a doctor at one stage who I just couldn't stand. I just couldn't stand, regardless of the money. I just couldn't stand her.
Oh, what was the matter with her?
Just bossy. Wouldn't listen to me, anything I said. And then she pretended it's communication error. It's not communication error. I told her specific things, and she wouldn't listen.
Oh, that doesn't sound like a good match, Archie. You have to find a woman that matches. And the way you get a woman to listen is to find a woman that agrees with you in the first place. That's the easiest way to do it. That way she and you are on the same, page with the same thoughts, values, desires. It's not hard. I've done it successfully since college. After, during college and before, I had contentious relationships because I loved attracting to opposites and reeling them into relationships. I never had anything casual. Opposites are fun, Archie. Fun is not an important component to a successful love relationship. It just isn't. Fun is not necessary. What you need is peace of mind and no agitation and comfort. And you can get that from a woman who's like you.
Mm-hmm.
It's not hard, but it's, I'll use some words exaggerated to make my point. It's boring. It's really not, but it's certainly not as exciting as an opposite.
What's happening with Miss Winkle? Tell me that.
No change, all status, regular communication, doing her thing. I'm having trouble with seeing you for some reason. I keep looking around here.
I'm here.
Some technical difficulties, but they may not be apparent to anyone but me.
I'm here. I can see you.
Okay.
I've even put my bicycle. I ride my bicycle in my study here. I'm getting ready to get.
Are you a bike rider, Archie? I didn't know that. I'm a bike rider.
I bought this bicycle over 30 years ago, and I didn't really ride it much. That's why it's so minty. But I'm packing all the stuff in the room. You see, packing.
I gave what's that? A 10-speed or 12-speed?
Yeah, 10-speed. Yeah.
I gave my 10-speed from 30 years ago to my neighbor when I moved, but I had already bought a brand new, e-bike, which requires you to pedal. It doesn't have a throttle.
I don't like giving things away to people for free. I don't like doing the free or the charitable work.
I had a deadline. I had to rush out.
We should outlaw vagrants, by the way. Can I say that to you?
What's that?
Vagrants. We should outlaw vagrancy.
Well, it is in some places, not so much in. There are laws in America everywhere against vagrancy, but they are not enforced by policy. So they're almost not enforced anywhere. Unless you're causing real trouble, they just let you be a vagrant. They let you loiter.
China, if you are homeless and panhandling, the police will take you. They will send you back to the village you come from.
Maybe it's not a bad idea.
Maybe it's not a bad fucking idea because we don't want vagrants, heroin addicts out the front of a supermarket. It's not a good look for families, is it?
You know, Archie, I'm a conservative, Trump-loving Republican, but I have a soft spot for the disadvantaged. And part of that community is truly disadvantaged. Sure,
can I tell you a story? Can I please tell you a story?
Yeah.
Okay, this is a Ronald Reagan story.
Oh, I'm going to love this. I was in Washington with the last year of Ronald Reagan.
Okay, here we go. So there was this Democrat couple.
Uh-huh.
And they had a daughter. And she was saying that when she grows up, she wants to help the poor. She wants to help them, help the homeless, help the poor. And she was saying that she's just recently taken up a job so she could raise money for the homeless.
Okay.
And after she did this job for a couple of weeks, she then said, instead of me doing the work, raising some money and then giving it to the homeless, why can't the homeless get the job themselves?
Well, I don't.
And Ronald Reagan then said, well, welcome to the Republican Party.
Yeah, Ronald Reagan had so many jokes.
He was such a wise man. I've read his I don't know. It was a biography on. I don't know. I don't think it wasn't an autobiography. I read a biography on Reagan. He was always deeply political. He used to be a Democrat. Reagan used to be a Democrat. I don't know if you remember, he did the General Electric hours talks. Mm-hmm. Remember, he used to be paid by General Electric.
But I'm aware of that. Yeah.
Sorry?
I'm aware of that. I'm aware of. Ronald Reagan had a item in his bio that dissected with me. I'll tell you what it was. So I was California's youngest elected official. It's the only elected office I ever held. I got elected when I was 17. You can't hold office till you're 18, but you can run. And my birthday, I had to hide out for the swearing in ceremony for the past July, my birthday. We used to have primaries in June. But nonetheless, beyond that little nuance, my brochure, which I have somewhere in this room in a closet, somewhere in this new beach pad apartment of mine, I had a brochure that was paid for by a bunch of supporters. And it said on the front page of this brochure that was mailed out to voters, what was a picture of Ronald Reagan, not me, what was Ronald Reagan elected to before he became governor? And I guarantee you no one knows this. It is a matter of public record, but it is not well documented. And it was an elected job called the West Los Angeles County Resource Conservation District. In America, we have things called special districts. They are mosquito abatement districts to prevent mosquitoes, water districts, cemetery districts. And this district, this elected area, was larger than any congressional seat in our country. It was larger than some Senate seats. It was massive. It was bigger than LA County, which, if you know the size of LA County, that's larger than many countries. Okay, so 16 million people, that's a lot. So I represented more people than almost any elected official in America. And I got elected to this little office, first place out of 14 candidates, using the brochure, what was Ronald Reagan elected to before he was governor? At the time, it was called the West Los Angeles, I believe it had a different name. They changed it. It was called, when I got elected, the West Los Angeles County Resource Conservation District. It had nothing related to its name. We were allowed to tax people. The first thing I did was write the Attorney General and inform him that the tax is illegal and he should rule as such. He did. We canceled the tax. Then I got a bill introduced in the California legislature and I abolished my own office. So the 4-year term only lasted a little more than 3 years. It's a footnote in history. I was just a teenager when I got elected, but I was honored by the California Republican Party and the National Republican Party as California's actual youngest elected or Democrat official. And it's a badge I wear with distinction. And then when I once ran for another office, small level office that I didn't get elected to, but raised more money than every candidate combined and any candidate in history, that office they kept asking me, would you abolish it? And I said, yes, I would. So in the name of Ronald Reagan, less government is better.
So true. So true there.
Ronald Reagan was a funny man. You know, on Facebook, I follow the Reagan jokes. And you can look it up. And the jokes last from, a minute to 2 or 3. A lot of them are about Russia. And they are hysterically funny. And I worked in Washington, D.C. for the American Conservative Union as the senior fellow in charge of national security and economic affairs in the last year of his presidency. In the last year of his presidency, I worked for Ronald Reagan for 1 day. I was the White House intern in the scheduling office. I gave that job. I couldn't get out of that job fast enough. I didn't go back the next day. That's a great story. Selena Jackson takes the job. She was a co-student of mine on the program I was in Washington, D.C., and I worked and studied there. And Selena Jackson takes this job when I tell her I didn't take it, the job's open, have at it. She gets hired as the White House intern in the scheduling office. She stays there the entire semester. Of course, she only meets Ronald Reagan in the hallway after they rope her off. I was invited to the White House 6 times to meet Ronald Reagan in group meetings where he did briefings on public policy because my foundation, the American Conservative Union, was the ACU, was the most popular and well-liked group of the Reagan administration. So I went for my boss. And I went there, and make a long story short.
Moment, not Sir Walter, $5. Trickle-down economics is like when math gives some table food.
Hold on with that. Let me just end with this story.
Tail wagging.
Let me end with this story. Selena Jackson, who was the intern, who took the job I gave up after working there 1 day. It's a great story as to why did I not want to go back. And I took a paid job as a senior fellow of the American Conservative Union. Selena Jackson becomes chief of staff to the president of the United States upon Reagan's retirement, returned to California, Century City offices. She called me up and she says, hey, I have a job with the president. I'm coming back. And she lived in Lawrence, Kansas. She worked for Senator Dole part-time before she worked at the White House. And I said, well, what job do you have, Selena? She said, I'm the president's chief of staff. I thought to myself, wait, I gave up that White House internship and somehow you took that job and then weaseled your way to being the chief of staff? How does that happen? Well, there's a great story to that, and I think I told it in another video here. I'm sorry to keep rambling. Let's look at the Not So Walter. That's my dog, Walter, by the way. He died at 11 in 2019. Trickle-down economics is like when math gives some table food. Now that gets my tail wagging. Trickle-down economics worked, but Trump has a different philosophy of economics. Not so much free market, but controlled markets. And it seems to be working.
Have you met Donald Trump yourself?
I have actually never met Donald Trump.
Have you met J.D. Vance?
No. I retired from active politics I was a career political appointee. That in 2008, I became a consultant, but my consultancy was never political. And I stopped, I almost became the CEO of the Republican Party of California, but the chairman I was rooting for missed by a few votes, so I didn't. And that was really my 2010. I was out. Out in
Nixon?
Richard Nixon, I met as a little boy when he came to Los Angeles. I think it was the Century Plaza Hotel. When I say I met him, I was at a public event that he attended. However, I have a nice letter from Richard Nixon. I wrote him a letter, and he wrote me back, and it doesn't look like an electronic signature from what I tell. But I met Gerald Ford. I was Gerald Ford's youth coordinator in California. I was only 15 or 14, might have been younger because I couldn't drive yet. Yet I was the California youth coordinator for Gerald Ford. I didn't know any better. He was running for president against Ronald Reagan. But what did I know at that point? I developed my politics, young, but I didn't really know. I didn't have a philosophy yet, or I probably would not have supported Gerald Ford.
We got another super chat from Dubsy, $2. Math, did you frequent Lovebirds in Emerita del Pilar?
I have no idea what Lovebirds is.
It must be some bar in the Philippines.
Oh, I think he's talking about Ermita. I'm not sure he's spelling it right. All right. So, and I don't know what Del Pilar is. Ermita. Actually, it's not pronounced that way. Anyway, I know the location. No, I don't. First of all, I'm not a drinker. I didn't like the bad girls. I didn't. Within the first 6 months of having to go to the Philippines for my work, because I was the ambassador from from California to the Philippines, as they called me. My real title was liaison, and I had to attend by gunpoint all of these bars for the first 6 months, and then I just put my foot down and said, I'm not going to these things. Not my style, not my thing. And I orchestrated meetings at the Shangri-La Hotel, where I lived for 5 years, the Etsa Shangri-La Hotel, until I got my own apartment after the job ended, and I got a life there and a girlfriend and all of that. But no, I never liked, you folks don't know me well, but I've never been into or focused on any sort of casual relationships with women, let alone casual sex. I've never been, none of that has been interesting to me at all. It's just not my thing. I love women, but a beautiful woman with a good mind and a good job is the best kind to have. Not the kind that sits next to you at some bar and tries to get you to buy her drinks, or anything like that. I understand it. I've been there. I was a guest many times because of my job and my relationship with government officials, and the government officials love it because the men in the Philippines, the Filipino men, they have wives, they have their mistresses, they have their girlfriends. These are distinctly different in the Philippines, mistresses and girlfriends. And then they have their GRO girls.
What's the difference between a girlfriend and a mistress?
Well, let's go to the GRO. You know what that stands for?
No.
Guest Relations Officer.
Yes.
A GRO is a girl that works at a bar,
yep,
or a dance club. And her job is to sell drinks, food, and in some cases, get friendly with you. They're called guest relations officers. You can take these girls out of the bar for a bar fine. Back then, the bar fine was between 5,000 and 8,000 pesos, sometimes 10,000 if it was when I say back then, this was the period for which, when I was a government official, other government officials in the Philippines would take me to these places. I never went there on my own desires. And after a short time, I was in a committed relationships for all the 19 years I lived in the Philippines, 4 months a year. So, but these girls are called guest relations officers, and we would call them high-class prostitutes. At least in America. That's what we call them. We don't have an equivalent. Then you have the promo girls. Now, I dated a promo girl once by choice. Let me tell you what a promo girl is. A promo girl is a high fashion model. I don't want to say fashion per se, but a high level model who's hired by corporations to sell products. And they do this in the mall. So if you walk into the average upper income mall of the Philippines, A class, B class mall, you're going to pass the phone store. Globe, Smart, equivalent to Sprint and AT&T in America. And they're going to have a beautiful, tall girl who doesn't look very Filipino. Fair-skinned, big boobs, tall, brown hair, maybe even blonde hair. Not typically Asian. And that's who Filipino men and women find beautiful. These women will approach you on the beach. They'll approach you in the mall. next to the store. And most of these are big corporations. Now in America, if we put a girl in a slinky outfit like that, they're all in sexy outfits showing cleavage, navels, dresses low to the hip, dresses as high as well above the knee. And if we did that in America, in any corporation, we would boycott them. Now, America is a free country and you can do it. It's perfectly okay, but it is fairly inappropriate. In the Philippines, they sexualize a lot. They call themselves a conservative Christian Catholic country, but I see the hypocrisy.
I like the hypocrisy. The Catholic Church is full of hypocrisy.
Oh, that Catholic Church it's unbelievably out. The whole thing is hypocrisy, because America is a fairly you can't walk into a mall in America and see sexy. I mean, I'm really talking, they were hired because they're beautiful and women have straight teeth. That's what the ads read. You can read the ads in the buy and sell in the Philippines. Must have straight teeth, must be between 18 and 23. That's how they roll there. And straight teeth was always the surprising ad requirement. You can't do that kind of thing in America, but you could hire, randomly beautiful girls to market your stuff. The last time I remember an American corporation doing this, it was Calvin Klein. And that was a long time ago. And Calvin Klein put women and men in a very sexy pose in underwear. This was not like catalog posing, on billboards and in front of their stores and in magazines. And it created quite a hullabaloo. It was perfectly legal in America. We have free speech to the point that hate speech is legal in America and protected. Hate speech is. And only since 9/11 do we have a law that prohibits certain kinds of threats. They're very limited, but and the Supreme Court has upheld those limitations. But we have very vast free speech, allowing and condoning hate speech of all sorts, verbally. Despite that, you can't do that stuff. It's out of our culture. You just cannot. You'll have protests, and they did. They had protests and boycotts of Calvin Klein. It's the only example I can recall in my lifetime history of an American company doing what is done every day in the Philippines in every single mall. Malls are big in the Philippines. That's where people go to do their thing. It's It's like the mall.
They're dying in America. Malls are dying.
They're dying in America, and they were never in America. And I was a mall rat. I was an ice skater. I went to the mall every week, and I went to the Valley Mall with all the Valley girls, who I'm sure you've heard about worldwide, because I lived in the Valley. I lived in Calabasas. That's where the Kardashians lived, and later in life, and various famous celebrities. It's about 9 miles north of Malibu, and it's at the edge of the San Fernando Valley, where all the Valley life is. And I went to the mall, but the malls were never as popular universally amongst all ages, all ethnic groups, all economic groups, as they are presently and in all of my life of almost 20 years of living in the Philippines. Malls are amazing in the Philippines. And they're owned by, there's only 3 guys that own a mall. Everything's an oligarchy. Everything's owned by one guy or one family. It's a matriarchal society, heavily in the daily operation of business in the Philippines, with the exception of the moguls, is run by women. The households are run by women. This is not China. That's why Archie will find the Filipino woman to be very different than the Chinese woman. I'm surprising the Chinese woman was so aggressive, Archie, that you were describing. A Filipino woman will be soft and demure with her man, but she knows how to be strong and independent, and they're all educated, and they speak English. I'm encouraging Archie to go to the Philippines, which he has never been to. He repeats, he likes to go to Red Communist China, and he likes to go to Vietnam. And I don't blame him. Those are good places to go and visit. But the Philippines where he should be. And his dollar, the US dollar is now 62 to 1. Or maybe it's higher by now. It's record levels. The highest it had been when I was there was 56 to 1, and that was for only a 4 or 5 year period, but it allowed me to buy my condo and really take advantage of that dollar conversion rate. Now, you know what we're missing here? We're missing people that want to ask a question by giving a super chat to Archie.
Super chat.
No, come on. Archie has a $90,000 bill coming forward here. He's got to get to his life as a retired YouTube influencer and reestablish himself in Asia. Maybe he'll do travel videos.
Maybe. I got to tell you something, Math. I'm really disappointed you couldn't get a few connections happening with wealthy women in the Philippines.
Wait, Archie. When are you leaving? You have no destination yet. You have not revealed your choices.
You know, I can get a 5-year visa to the Philippines very easily.
Well, you can hold on. I don't know Australia, but I presume if it's an American policy, you go to the Philippines for 30 days, you need no visa. And then once in the Philippines, within the 30 days, if you wish to stay longer, you're going to get a visa extension. I am handled in a VIP way, so I don't have to abide by those limitations. But the average person will have to go in physically or online. Now they're able to do it.
Fuck, they're expensive.
Yeah, you're going to pay. Let me figure that.
They know how to charge.
No,
he did.
No, 8 or 10.
He did. Fuck me dead.
No, it's not that expensive. We're talking $200 or so for 6 months. 8 or 10,000 pesos. Maybe that's $300. My math might be off. Yeah, they want to take advantage of foreign visitors, but do not in the Philippines. It used to be you could ignore your visa extensions and get to the airport and then just pay the fine and leave. Now they simply won't let you leave, and they'll direct you back to a physical office in Intramuros near Manila. It's called Intramuros location, and you don't want that to happen. So you want to make sure you're current on your visa, but you don't, as an American, I presume an Australian, need a visa to actually fly there.
Oh, I see. Got you.
I'm sure of it. I'm sure Australia would be treated the same way. And unless they changed it, made it longer, it's 30 days. It was once 22 days. You had 22 days to get your visa set up. Now I think it's 30.
I see. Okay, Math, I really do want to
Russia. There's a lot of people here commenting. No, I don't really take a breath. You know, if I took a breath, Archie would have a chance to talk. Archie's already packed up. You can see in the background.
Yes.
The boxes. Now, you're going to put those in storage, and then when you decide where you're going to live,
this room is the storage room. This room is because this room here is an outside room.
Uh-huh.
So this is outside the house, because this room was added on because my dad had a small business when I was a kid. He used to do help with filing tax returns. He used to charge. He was an accountant.
Huh.
So this room used to be, he built this so he could, it was away from the house. And so now this became my studio. And now I'm just packing it up floor to ceiling so that I can put my stuff so nobody touches it whilst I'm gone. I put all my clothes away.
Archie, we have 2 super chats you're not keeping up with.
Oh, we got a super chat.
2 of them.
We got Basil's Beazle. He's a good guy. Basil's Beazle. Link for TW. Okay, I'm going to put the link in.
What is TW?
TW is a man who he is a little bit down on his luck. He's an Australian whom he married a Filipino woman.
Oh, wait,
and he then made the stupid mistake of bringing her back to Australia, and she decided to divorce him, and you know how it is. What happened is they had a house, they had a townhouse, and then they got divorced. And instead of keeping the townhouse, which was quite cheap, he sold it, took his money, and went on a bit of a drinking splurge. If he had the townhouse today, it would be worth $1 million. So now, instead of having the proceeds from the townhouse, he's basically drank it away. But
if you bring your wife to America on a fiancé visa,
let me tell you this: bringing a Filipino or an Asian woman to a Western world, if you take the flower out of the rainforest, it will become a noxious fucking weed. And here's T-Dubs. Say hello, TW.
Good morning, gentlemen. G'day, Marcus.
hello, TW.
Yeah, hi, mate.
Welcome to
let me get the story. Let me straighten the story out for you, mate. There is no divorce in the Philippines. There's no divorce. True, Marcus?
True.
There's no divorce.
You can get an annulment, which is essentially the same thing. It costs a lot of money.
That's for rich people. That's for the middle.
And then there's the annulment. You have to have a grudge. There has to be an issue there. There's no fault.
And big money.
You can make a false issue. Come on, if you've got enough money, you can get anything done. This is the Catholic Church.
Do you remember, Marcus, were you there around 89, 90, 91?
19 to 2003 was my first visit.
Oh, okay. Okay. So why I mentioned Amita and Mabini, HM Del Pilar Street was where all the bars were.
Ermita, it's still a busy place.
Now,
it's not as open slather as what it was then.
Dubsy, Marcus, personal friends with Imelda Marcos. Did you know that?
Okay. Right.
You've had dinners, several dinners with Imelda. There you go. Here we go. Look at that.
She's my lunch mate, or was. She's taken a bit ill. We would alternate treating. This was the first day I met her at Congressman Jack Mattai's mother's house.
Okay. Did she receive you okay, Marcus? Was she nice to you? Or?
The lunch was in my honor, not hers. And she came as she was the second host, and there were about 12 people at the table at Congressman Jack Mattai's mother's house. I forget her name, and she was the friend of Imelda. And then the lady and I just kept meeting. I would text her assistant, Nora, I think it was her name, and then we would just meet. And once she invited me to her apartment, she called me the little George Hamilton.
Okay.
George, you remind me of George Hamilton. She once said to me, she said so many things to me. She told me a joke. Here's a joke. She said, Marcus, they went into my closet looking for skeletons, but all they found was shoes. I thought it was funny at the time. And she would have this book. She gave me a book. I have it in the other room with her signature. One day I'll bring it out. I don't have it here.
Well, I married a girl from Beacole, Marcus. I married a girl from right down the bottom end, of the island of Luzon, Beacolana.
Yeah. Yeah. I've never been there. It's kind of chilly there, right? It's cold. That's the cold place.
No, that's up north, Baguio. No, right. I'm talking down south. Further south than Manila.
I tried not to go south except to Davao and CDO.
And Arch is right because, guys, I used to knock about with a lot of the ex-servicemen, a lot of the guys from the embassy. I used to drink in the clubs with them. Because that was sort of like that was where the expat community hung out, basically. Like Makati wasn't like it is now because they've got BCG and that there. But
I never hung out with expats. I probably in 19 years, I'm going to throw out a number, met 3 of them. I never It wasn't my crowd. I met a few randomly in restaurants and we had conversations, but no, I never went to the embassy even once, though I was invited to do the tennis club, the tennis court parties, the CIA unit, the diplomatic unit and State Department would invite me, but I stayed away from that too.
Right. Do you remember the was the Seamen's Club open when you went there in 2000? Was it still open?
I have no idea. The Makati, was it Makati? Yacht Club, Manila Yacht Club would be open. I went there quite a few. This was my card. I removed my surname. This was my unofficial card, meaning my personal card. And all my personal data is on there. I'm not afraid to show it. Yeah. What we're saying. And I remember this card, once Speaker Di Venetia handed it to the ambassador, who I had never met until he was in the lobby of the speaker's house. And I said,
if you went back now, would you, and considering what's happened recently, you know, with that, the guy that got the the marine biologist guy, he was in his 70s, he got killed. Apparently it was over a lot. I think it was over money. I think that was down Dumageddon way. Would you employ bodyguards? Would you employ your own personal security? Or
I had 2 bodyguards, sometimes 4 for 5 years, to such an extent that they lived at the hotel with me, and they were also drivers. After I ended my job ended, and I got out of the hotel within a year. I started to rent apartments. I kept one guy named Rainier, and he was the bodyguard to the mayor, Mayor Belmonte, who became the Speaker of the House of Representatives there. He would lend me. He allowed Rainier to take a leave of absence when I would go to the Philippines. I gave Rainier up on a daily basis a couple of years later, and then used him only as airport pickup. And then I was on my own. I just moved around alone, and I have credible death threats. But the way they get you is with bodyguards and designated cars. So so I gave up my driver. I had a driver. I decided I'm going to travel in taxis and Ubers, and all of those cars out there were my driver, and it was much better. And the day it happened, I'll tell you how it happened. So I'm at the Makati Shangri-La, and I have a driver and a bodyguard. The bodyguard's with me. The driver bodyguard's circling and circling and circling in the traffic. You'll get this. And I'm with all these important people. I mean, the A-class, you know, the controlling power elite of the Philippines in the Makati Club, leaving the Shangri-La lunch. I think one of the OPEC ministers talked, I think from Venezuela, and we're all standing there, and we can't get our drivers. They're stuck in traffic, circling. So I got into a taxi from that hotel, and I told my driver, I'm going to pay you up for the month, and this entire trip might have been 3 months left, and I'm going to cease and desist. I'm taking taxis. That's what I did. And Ubers, which is not called an Uber in the Philippines, called a Grab. I did that indefinitely from then forward. And
I was there before all of that, the Grab and that. Like I never had any issues with taxi drivers, but I sort of was in. It's not. I think it's shut down now. When I came back, I think it was 91 or 92. They called him Dirty Harry Lim. He went round and he shut all the bars down.
Oh, I don't know this story. The only problems I've ever had in the Philippines are, in fact, taxi drivers. I sprayed one. Yeah. I had to spray one and exit the car. And otherwise, I have to get into fights. I would say my girlfriend and I finally had to have an.
I went to the provinces twice. I went to the province twice for Barrio Fiesta. That was back in 94, 95. We went back 93, 94, 95 as a married couple, and I never had any issues, Marcus. Never, not one issue at all.
What provinces?
Down, Legazpi City, a bit further on south from Legazpi. Yeah, called Sorsogon. The town was San Antonio, Barrio San Antonio. And her family was quite. She had family in Manila and she had family in the province, quite a large family. But I remember the barangay captain. He was a relative, and he said to me, "Just stay within the township. You know, if you don't go wandering off outside, because we can't really keep an eye on you." When we went back, the NPA was still active down there in the New People's Army. So, but they came through one day. They came through, and I stuck my head out and said g'day to them. But they had all the bits and bobs with them. So they looked intimidating. They looked intimidating, but really they were cordial to me.
They're the friendliest kidnappers in the world. They'll kidnap you, and
the friendliest kidnappers in the world. You're right.
And you're right. $20,000 of lodging and boarding fees, unless they think you're really rich, and they might seek 60. You could be a repeat customer, like the Chinaman that got it twice, and then they let him go. 200 on average kidnapped every year, and as far as I know, the last record I looked at, 2017 or 18, not one kidnapping in Manila. All in the provinces, all foreigners, no domestic Filipinos.
How many a year? 200.
All in the immediate provinces, meaning the ones you think are safe, Pampanga, Angeles City. And then as you go further south, outside of Davao, outside of CDO, Canandioro, those.
I know a few guys in Angeles, and I haven't heard any. A few YouTubers there too.
You have to go to the United States State Department sites to get the Philippine numbers, because the Philippines doesn't like to talk about it.
Yeah,
I don't think that's really a place for me to go if it's that dangerous, Marcus. I don't.
Stay in Manila, or you go to Boracay. You go where the rich Filipinos.
You want to just go for a couple of days, Arch, do a week in Manila and see if you like it or not. Don't do any extended.
The expat community is targeted. That's one of the reasons I never went there.
When I went back in '93, Marcus, I took everything bar the kitchen sink. I mean, I had to pay $300 excess baggage at the Brisbane International Airport with the stuff we had. Right, being a returning Filipino, you know, they have to bring everything. They have to bring everything right back to the family.
I bet she bought more than everything. She went.
Yeah,
back.
Well, that's what I mean. I paid $300 excess baggage, and we had to get her.
Arguments with her about this and say, "What the fuck are you taking?"
You know what,
because it's a big thing for them, Arch. It's a big thing for them returning to their. It's a big. Marcus will understand this. It's a big thing for them to return for the first time. What is it called?
The boxes. What are those boxes called? There's a name for them in Filipino. The box itself that you bring back from your country that you're coming from, Australia or America.
Balikbayan? Is it Balikbayan or is it Balikbayan?
With a B. And that's the Filipino word for this box, to the point that in America that's so significant that there are companies that are named that. So Filipinos can ship back. In fact, every time I go, I can't tell people when I go, because I'll get phone calls.
We went back for Barrio Fiesta in '93, and then again in '94 and '95. So I had a property. I sold that, and then I left the bulk of my funds here in Australia. And then when we came back, I bought open-ended tickets, and I had open-ended visas, and I took my firstborn.
That was the biggest mistake of your life, was selling that.
He was only about 3, so
Bubsy,
I planned on staying there. I planned on staying there, Marcus, in the province.
Life selling those properties, Dubsy.
Yeah. Let me finish, Arch. Let me finish, Arch. You're jumping down my throat. I said I had plans on staying there, but what happened was I knew this, but she had it was like reverse culture shock. She'd been in Australia for a couple of years. So I said to her, don't go back under 2 years, get your Aussie citizenship, right? And then we'll go back. And she had like a case of reverse culture shock. So, but her father had a stroke, and he was a nice guy, you know, it's a very big family. I did ask him. I said, "Would you like to come back to Australia? And stay with us for 6 months or so?" And no way, he couldn't, because he was like the head of the clan. If he left, and it ended up, it all went to her. Two of her younger brothers that went to shit with them. One ended up in trouble in the army, and ended in jail. But yeah, we had a couple of trips back for the Barrio Fiestas. That was an experience, in the province. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Get in jail, Dubsy. I don't get it.
Sorry, mate.
What did he do wrong to go to jail?
Oh, I'm not. No, he passed away. Actually, I'm not gonna say anything about that. But you know what they're like, Marcus. You know what the men there, the macho thing. It's all, if you don't join the army or the navy or something like that, you're
Right.
you got to join the army, to be macho.
There's no real jobs for men there. Most of the jobs are in Manila, and then they're for young women. That's kind of how they roll. Archie, we have at least 2 or 3 more super chats.
We do. We have some super duper chats. Bimbo Pumper, $3.50. Marcus, your watch collection at present. Any Rolex? He's wearing a Rolex. You're wearing a solid gold. Let's see it. Solid gold.
I have 5 Rolexes presently, and I've owned 6. And we did a watch collection show where I unpacked.
Yeah, we did.
Having moved, I had to unpack. I unpacked from the safe a good amount of watches. I have a world-class watch collection. I have about 100 watches, it's estimated. We don't know how many we opened that night, maybe 60 or 80 of them. Many of them are not luxury watches. They're independent brands, which I love. But yes, I'm wearing the gold 18
Nice sub, Marcus. Nice.
Blue.
Yeah, it's nice. Very nice.
You should get one, Dubsy. You should get a Submariner one.
Would you get? When was the last time you went back, Marcus? Would you go back again?
I gave up returning to the Philippines when my girlfriend came to America. So 2022, I have a ticket, a business class that I bought during COVID, at the end of COVID, and I paid the extra. So I renew it every March. It's a flight on the first Sunday of March, and I keep moving it, and I've moved it for years. I have no plan of returning. I sold.
Which airline's that with, Marcus?
ANA Airlines. I think it's the best one. ANA. It's the Japanese airline.
Or Nippon Airlines.
Yeah, Nippon Airline. And I have a credit card with them. I pay my mortgage with not my mortgage, my rent.
Did you ever fly PAL? Did you ever fly Philippine Airline?
Yeah, for years I had to. I had no choice. For 5 years, as I say, I went there because of a job. I never thought PAL was any good. What a scam operation that is. I took the
they looked after me. They looked after me in 94. I had a blown tendon in my left knee from working where I was working, and from Brisbane right through to Manila, they took us. Actually, they took us up on the side on a platform cherry picker, because I couldn't get up the stairs because I was on crutches. And in Manila, at their end, they had a wheelchair waiting for me, and so they looked after us.
If you need special handling, my friend, or if you're a VIP, they'll treat you great. But the problem is, I'll give one example that was agitating. You buy a direct flight round trip ticket to the from PAL, which leaves late at night, and it never is direct flight. It lands in Guam, and the reason
Guam.
Lie to you. It's a scam. There's no direct flight. They don't tell you, but I knew because I flew there so often. Yeah, it's going to land in Guam. The direct flight, which doesn't land anywhere, lands in Guam. Only the Philippine Airlines could get away with this. And they go down in Guam and they fill up their tank of gas. The whole excursion takes almost a couple of hours, potentially as little as 90 minutes. And the reason is because the Filipinos on the plane have loaded so freaking much into the hull with those boxes, and they're going back against the wind. Somehow it travels opposite, and it slows the plane down, eats the gas, and they have to go get gasoline or whatever.
They had it loaded up to the gills.
Terrible. So I've flown everything, and I believe the worst. Now there's the worst. The worst is China Air. Oh, China Eastern. There's 2 China companies. One's China Eastern. It's the worst. I find Nippon Air to be the best. at any price point, and often they are reasonable, not the cheapest, but they are reasonable.
Yeah.
I go business class.
I remember I think it was the first or the second time coming back, because we flew domestic from Manila to Legazpi, and of course they've got the big volcano there, Mayon, which it's been erupting for a while. But coming back, I think it was the first or the second time, they decide we got because it was down, the barrio was about 60 or 70 k so further south, so we got the jeepney with everyone loaded up. We got to the airport, and they told us the hostesses had decided to throw a strike. So we were sitting there in a jeepney with all the family, and I've got a 3-year-old with me, right, and the wife, and we're thinking, what am I going to do? So we go into Legazpi, we book into a motel. There's one of them said, South Superhighway, take the bus. So we had overnight bus from Legazpi to Manila. I mean, that was an experience, Marcus. I tell you what, mate, unbelievable. And I couldn't get off at the rest stops for a piss. Like the missus was saying, don't get out here. You know, like it was too dodgy.
God. Well, I have a rule in the Philippines. I don't travel anywhere more than an hour from any airport. And that limits where I go. But I have a rule. I'm not going to be sitting in a car driving around.
I loved it. I loved the province. I thought it was magic. It was just like so relaxing. Like I used to get a lady would come around and she'd do a pedicure for me. I think it was equivalent of about $5, you know, a couple of 100 pesos, you know, and I'd tip them.
Still in Manila. But do you like Filipino food?
Oh yeah, love it.
Well, see, when you like Filipino food, it doesn't become a problem. But the moment you get an hour away from an airport or an hour away from any civilization, you can't get American food. And I only ate corporate American. I didn't.
Right. Yeah.
Food. I wouldn't.
No, Bicol is they're a different dialect. So their dialect is a lot more Spanish's influence there. But they like their hot food. They like chili. And her sister, we used to get this little boy. He used to come around every morning with a big handful of about half a dozen of these big mud crabs. So her sister would do me up chili mud crabs for lunch. You know, it was great. I really enjoyed it. The only time I had an issue was one time because the local, the army boys were in there because they come around. They do all the barrio fiestas, you know, trying to pick up the girls, and they're running around with their, you know, their tools, trying to be all big and macho. It's one, he was chasing the missus round. And then I found out the young fella was sick, and I was back at the house, and they had the dance up.
What do you mean?
Well, they had the dance up at the school, and they had the basketball court. And when they do a dance like for Barrio Fiesta, the noise, the music is thunderous. You can hear it from one province to another. I mean, it is thunderous noise, right? No. So I've gone up there, and I said to the missus, I've gone up. I said, you better get back home. I said, the young fella's crook. Your sister's daughter's crook, you know. And then the next day, and I found out she had a dance with this joker. And he's back at the house. He's wanting more, you know. So we ended up had to bar him. But it wasn't nothing serious, you know. It was just like, you know, no threats of violence. I never saw any violent altercations there, Marcus. Not one. It does happen. I never saw one, and I was never involved in one. I found them
involved in, you know, several people getting annoyed with me. I don't like noisy kids, and I would make a stink if Filipino children were running around with their yayas in the restaurant. And many families tell me I've traumatized their child. They love that word. You've traumatized my child, because I would slam my hand down like that. Hey, kid, get away from that glass. These kids are going to go through the glass window. I mean, I don't know what the parents don't care. The yayas running.
That's the thing is especially in the province, but they were like, it is true that the kids, because you've got the extended family there, your extended family, so
they don't keep their children in control in the public. I don't quite understand that. I come from Los Angeles, and when our kids misbehave like this on a pattern, they put them on Ritalin. What can I tell you, Archie? We have another super chat from Black Cat.
Is there anything wrong with wearing a derby shoe with a suit? Derby shoe is the two-tone shoe. The black and the cream. It's a two-tone. The derby shoe. No, that's a great idea. As long as they're polished and in good condition, in good fettle.
Well, not all. I would call that. I have. Well, I'm looking at something called a derby shoe that I know as a wingtip. I'm looking at it on the internet. They're calling this the Santonia men's derby shoe, but it's a wingtip as I know it. And although it's one color, I have a wingtip, not a derby shoe per se, in two different colors.
A derby shoe is defined. Sorry, my mistake. Defined by the open lacing system, where the shoe's eyelet flap quarters are stitched on top of the main section.
Yes. Okay. So I call that.
What do you think about now, Marcus, with the advent of like I was there pre-cell phone and internet? Do you think the cell phones have ruined, with the Philippines?
I remember in 2003, I was only doing text messaging in a very limited way in America. And I landed that day, and we're driving great distances, and from the airport to wherever, it's a Shangri-La in Mandaluyong. And I asked my host, Romeo, I said, Romeo, why are all these, it's funny, I said, why are all these people looking at their phone like this?
Yeah.
And he said, boss, they're texting.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And I had text, I knew what it was. And then, of course, that began my texting. I text so much in the Philippines that in 2000, I was a platinum member of Globe, and I text so much that I received a notice on my phone. You have won an iPhone sponsored by Samsung. Why would Samsung pay for an iPhone? But whatever. And then when I was in the Globe office, because I was a platinum member, I could just get in front of all those people and show them, what is this text message, to my regular Globe staff member. And she said, Marcus, you've won, they called me Sir Marcus. Sir Marcus, you've won. And I said, what did I really won? I thought this is a scam. No, you won. And they said, you come back, and they set up a day. And then I came back, and out come a balloon and a cake and a free iPhone. Apparently I had text 60, I'm forgetting the number now, over 7,000 people, different people, in 30 days. 7,000 people in 30 days. That's hard to believe. But on my iPhone, I have more than 7,000. I've attributed 6,000 people I know in the Philippines that are on my.
They're all Facebook now. Facebook, and they do the girls do the IRL streams. That you've seen them, the girls doing the IRL streams.
Sure.
When I was there, it was way before all of that. No mobile phones. No.
When was the last time you were in the Philippines?
95.
Oh, okay. I don't get there till 93, and I'm there routinely for work for 5 years, and then I stopped going in 2022. I do have a condo there presently, and I sold the condo that my client bought for me that he never used. It was just for me, and we sold it, and I kept some of the proceeds last year. It was a beach condo in Batangas. So that condo's gone and sold. My condo still exists, and I am I'm working a deal with Mega World to buy it back, and I have it almost closed now.
Okay.
So, yeah, because I paid them a lot of money for it, and I'm willing to give it back to them under market rate, and then we'll split proceed. So they've agreed to the concept, but everything in the Philippines, as you may know, is slow process. So I'm 2 years on the deal, but it's about to close, and I suspect my friend has moved out, who just hangs out there. He's a buddy of mine, and then we'll just close it up.
Yeah, I can't go back, Marcus. Because of the divorce, I divorced her.
You can't go back because of a divorce?
Well, see, the family they'd have me pegged soon as I put foot on the ground. I'd have a target on my back, Marcus. I'd have a target on my back.
Well, there is also a way of checking if you're going to be pulled out of. You can pay an attorney, and he can pay a source, and he'll find out if you'll be pulled out of the plane when you arrive out of immigration for the. It would be an immigration pull, and you'll be on hold, and you'll be able to find that out ahead of time if you pay an attorney. A couple thousand pesos, not much, 40 bucks.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I enjoyed my time there. I don't know whether I could. It would take a lot. I'd have to structure it, and I'd have to do a lot of planning. But there's other places that I'm more interested in now than that. Although I loved it, I do. I like the people. They were very generous to me. But I can only talk from being involved, being encompassed in a family. Having married, and then returning with my wife to her family, so I was sort of like one of the family.
We've got another super chat. Black Cat, $5. The British on the internet are saying only savages wear derby shoes with suits. We even wear penny loafers with suits to work. Surprising.
Well, I wear penny loafers, with a pair of khakis or pants, but I wouldn't wear it with a suit. I have two kinds of shoes I wear with my suits. I wear a wingtip with laces, and I wear a beaded leather tassel shoe with a low arch. So is that what you call it? So I can show my socks off. It just depends how I want to roll.
Okay, Archie, good talking to you, Marcus. I'm going to go now. Archie. Thanks for having me on, Archie. Sure.
Dubsy, please come again. We had a great chat with you there. Please come again.
Nice to meet you, Marcus. Take care, mate.
See you next time.
Okay, guys, time to wrap this show up. Let's thank our super chatters, Not Sir Walter, Dubsy, Bazils, Beezels, Bimbo, Pimper, Black Cat, and Black Cat. We will be back next week. Marcus, please find someone wealthy, and I'm a bit scared about these bodyguards. Do I really need bodyguards?
You need someone to accompany you from the airport to your hotel at the very least and back, okay? Just because you don't want to land there and get, it starts with the airport taxi scamming you, and it's really, you just have to do that. Even I did that. Even I still do that. I have somebody get me at the airport. Yeah, I don't want to be dealing with that.
Maybe the Philippines is not the place for me.
Well, look, I can't speak to the other places. I'm sure they all have their, but we know the secrets. The gentleman that was just here, and at least I do, we know the secrets of how to avoid the problems.
See you next week, my friend. See you later. Hi, guys. It's Archie Luxury. Guys, I want to talk to you about David SW. David SW, David SW. Guys, if you are in America, if you are looking for a Rolex watch of your dreams, in fact, if you're looking for a contemporary modern wristwatch, I strongly advise you to look at David SW. Guys, don't play the dealer games. Don't bring in chocolates or Krispy Kremes for your dealer hoping to get a Rolex at retail. It's futile. Please, guys, save your dignity. Keep some pride. Go to David SW. I would highly recommend David SW, David SW. If you're in America and you're looking for a watch, go to David SW, David SW, David SW.